Hello, and welcome to Professional Academy 2015. Today, we're going to cover sports and fitness. The topic is Noble Power My Life, My Football by Andriy Shevchenko, Alessandro Alciato. What's inside? Explore the uplifting journey of soccer legend Andriy Shevchenko, who dramatically transformed his life through his commendable strength of character. You will learn a lifelong love for soccer, Shevchenko's first steps towards his dream, the importance of a coach's personality, about the revival of Dynamo Kyiv, how a Ukrainian conquered AC Milan and the world. Key points. Number 1. Soccer, more than just a dream. Number 2. Hard work and great aspirations. Number 3. The Lobanovsky era. Number 4. Progress at Dynamo and a first encounter with Rossoneri. 5. Journey to the Milan planet. 6. Creating the new Milan and the new Shevchenko. 7. The victory of Milan, the victory of a lifetime. 8. There is no better time for change than now. And conclusion is number 9. I want to, as a side note, a brief note about the author Andriy Shevchenko, Alessandro Alciato. Andriy Shevchenko, celebrated for leading Dynamo Kyiv, Ukraine's national team, and AC Milan, boasts the Ballon d'Or, or a Champions League Cup, and numerous other prestigious titles. Let's jump right in. Next up, soccer, more than just a dream. Success and happiness can often seem elusive without markers to guide us. For Andriy Shevchenko, a typical Ukrainian boy from an intellectual family, soccer became his guiding star. This passion, rooted in childhood, connected the most essential points on the fate map. It all started in 1986. Two things occupied the mind of 10-year-old Shevchenko: soccer and the unnerving Chernobyl nuclear disaster. The latter led to a forced trip to the Azov Sea coast. It felt like an adventure to him, but even then, he understood that life is unpredictable. However, in March 1986, the soccer mad boy's life took a much more fateful turn. During an inter-school tournament, Shevchenko caught the attention of Alexander Shpavko, a Dynamo Kyiv junior squad coach. After the tournament, he handed his phone number to Andriy's parents, unknowingly setting a new trajectory for Shevchenko's life. The future soccer star's path could have gone entirely different without this encounter. Many of Shevchenko's peers were spiraling down the social ladder, and so soccer and parental support provided direction. His mother worked in a kindergarten and his father was a military man, so he had a decent example to follow. Despite his potential, young Andriy was a regular kid, occasionally lost, rebellious, sometimes late for practice or forgetting his gear. He'd get into fights or sneak out in winter to play hockey on a frozen lake. But a frank conversation with Coach Shpavko, stressing the need for discipline if he ever wanted to play for Dynamo, became a turning point. I want to emphasize the next sentence. Dynamo fosters discipline, respect, organization, modesty, and even self-sacrifice. The first year at Dynamo was decisive for shaping Shevchenko as a person and not just a soccer player. At 12, he experienced his first trip to Italy, a journey full of discoveries, the first international trophy won with the Dynamo youth team, and the first taste of victory beyond his homeland. He felt like a hero. But most importantly, he fell in love with Italian soccer. From then on, it became a distant yet tangible guiding light for Shevchenko. Up next, hard work and great aspirations. Professional soccer was a dream that Andriy Shevchenko harbored within him. Understanding the strong connection between hard work and success, he set a clear goal to become a true soccer player. Even outside Dynamo Kiev's academy, Shevchenko found ways to improve physically, swimming in a nearby lake, spontaneous soccer games, and regular running. The key was in the ignition, and his soccer engine was gaining momentum. Nothing could stop young Shevchenko. However, a threat loomed over his dream military school. Failing the university entrance exam for physical education led to a serious talk with his father, culminating in the stark choice: progress in soccer or say goodbye to Dynamo. Within a year, Andriy proved his examination performance was a regrettable mistake. Volodymyr Onishchenko, his new coach, played a substantial role in his growth, moving him to the reserve team. I would like to emphasize the next sentence. During his second trip to Italy, Shevchenko encountered the heart of Italian soccer, the San Siro Stadium. He vowed he would step on that legendary turf again. Meanwhile, a new and independent Ukraine was born. Kiev was adorned with blue-yellow flags. The air vibrated with a sense of change. One such change was the introduction of the Ukrainian Soccer Championship. In the early 90s, Shevchenko, a reserve player, earned triple his initial salary of $50. Seemingly destiny had become an eternal engine accelerating at the world's pace. In 1994, coached by Joseph Szabo, Shevchenko made his Dynamo Kiev first team debut nationally and then in Europe. By December, the once unorganized boy from Kiev's Oblon district had scored his first Champions League goal against Bayern Munich. With fellow strikers Sherry Rebrov, Shevchenko learned to sense his partner and not be egotistical on the pitch. Thanks to his coaches, Shevchenko reluctantly learned to avoid life's pitfalls. Fast driving and nightclubs, eternal attributes of athletes' off-field lives, barely stood a chance of harming the then Dynamo generation. But progress requires change, often involving sacrifice. Shevchenko and his teammates would come to learn this when Valery Lobanovsky took over as head coach. Up next, the Lobanovsky era. Lobanovsky was often called the Colonel, a nod to his previous service in the Soviet Ministry of Internal Affairs. But for Andriy Shevchenko, Valery Lobanovsky was more than just a name. He was a mentor, a genius, a life guide. Shevchenko believed unfailingly in the soccer ideology that Lobanovsky preached. The coach demanded peak performance in training and play, intense runs and maneuvers that seemed to defy gravity, yet this sacrifice paid off. Under the Colonel's leadership, Dynamo Kiev won its first championship with a significant lead over its competitor Shakhtar Donetsk. The victory wasn't just a team triumph, but a collective one where each individual mattered. As Andriy Shevchenko quotes, "To me, he embodied the world. I complied, executed, exhausted myself, grew, and evolved. Without him, I wouldn't be who I am. I championed Lobanovsky's name, pushed to the brink, wallowed in the mud because no path to glory is free of grit. And there was much to learn. Lobanovsky taught players the craft of dribbling, ball control, and thinking at breakneck speed. His quest for soccer perfection instigating a technical revolution in post-match performance analysis and meticulous work on each player's psychological state were some of the contributions to building an extraordinary Dynamo Kiev team. I would like to emphasize the next sentence. Shevchenko admits that part of his soccer success lay in an unconditional belief the coach in the player and vice versa. Injuries were part of the journey. Shevchenko recalls his first traumatic incident, a surgery due to slipping on a remote control leading to a meniscus tear. Yet nothing happened by accident. The forced break taught him to work with even more persistence and reinforced that parental support would remain a crucial driver of his progress. The grand comeback happened in 1997 when Dynamo re-entered the European Cup and seemingly the group of death, Barcelona, PSV, Newcastle. For analysts and fans, this trio seemed too formidable to give Dynamo a pre-match hope of a decent Champions League performance. However, a blend of fate and Lobanovsky's methodology accomplished the impossible. Kiev beat the Catalans twice. In the return match at Camp Nou, Andriy Shevchenko scored 3 goals. After the game, the coach told them never to rest on their laurels. Thus, Dynamo was reborn and reminded the soccer world of its presence. As for Shevchenko, changes awaited him. AC Milan was waiting around the next corner. Next up, progress at Dynamo and a first encounter with the Rossoneri. Before the Italian colossus showed explicit interest, it was clear that the young talent from Kiev would not only attract the attention of the Rossoneri Red Blacks, another name for AC Milan. Agents swarmed in like bees to honey with proposals to place Shevchenko with European giants. But one person stood out among the rest, a mysterious man who started to regularly appear at Dynamo's training sessions and watch the striker. This man turned out to be Rezo Shokhoneladze, a Milan manager who, according to an agreement between the Cuvians and the Italians, could monitor Shevchenko from the sidelines. Apart from numerous positive playing qualities, Shokhoneladze emphasized the most important one. Andriy, with his relaxed playing style, was precisely what Milan needed. And what was Shevchenko feeling? The forward admits the attention from his dream club certainly boosted his confidence, but it did not impact his commitment to the game for his home club. The 1997-1998 season saw him clinch the national championship and the Ukrainian Cup with a tally of 33 personal goals, just a few of his accomplishments that increased the Rossoneri's enthusiasm with which the Italian press wrote about increasingly. I would like to emphasize the next sentence. One of Andriy Shevchenko's critical features is the ability to adequately assess his capabilities and achievements and to keep a finger on the pulse of fate, never allowing events to merely drift by. Before the start of the new season, Sheva asked for a raise and the Sarkis brothers, Dynamo's owners, complied. Moreover, during that meeting, they agreed that they would not obstruct the transfer if a worthy foreign offer arrived within a year. Come September 1998, amidst packed and buzzing stands, a significant event unfolded on the pitch, a Ukraine versus Russia match, which ended with a victory for the Ukrainian national team. Although the Kiev forward did not distinguish himself in that match, fate in the form of Erido Breda, Rossoneri's sports director, was already on the doorstep. The transition didn't happen immediately due to existing commitments with the club president and the ongoing season. Nonetheless, Breda's arrival, akin to soccer inspection, was a great sign of attention. Most symbolically, the gift, a Milan shirt with the number 10 and Shevchenko's name on the back. Breda was certain that Shevchenko would someday win the Champions League in that very shirt. So initially, the player signed a preliminary agreement with the club continuing to play for Dynamo. Ahead was the European Cup and matches with Real Madrid. At the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium, the Dynamo players felt like one. They could really win the Champions League, just a few steps were left. Unfortunately, Bayern Munich had the same plans and they stopped Dynamo's victorious march into the semi-finals. Winning the Ukrainian Cup slightly improved the mood of Lobanovsky, who dreamed of winning the European Championship. Much like their previous dialogues, Shevchenko deeply ingrained in his final meeting with Lobanovsky before moving to Milan. The maestro knew that a new chapter in football was about to unfold for Henry in Italy and implored him never to stop. He also immediately informed the coaching staff of the Rossoneri that Shevchenko must undertake intense physical activities. This attitude was typical of the colonel. Up next, journey to the Milan planet. Andriy Shevchenko felt that he could achieve astonishing success with Milan, but before his dreams came true, the newcomer had to dive into a new world and adapt culturally and physically. To fit in quickly, Shevchenko had to learn Italian. He was frustrated as he could not communicate on par with the team, feeling like an alien, but time put everything in its place, and eventually there was no trace left of the embarrassed boy, understanding not a word. In Italy, Shevchenko was in for many discoveries. One of the first human surprises was the club owner Silvio Berlusconi. While legends of his wealth spread worldwide, Shevchenko got to know him not only as a generous man but also a man with a big heart. The striker recalls his first Italian summer. Berlusconi gave him his villa in Sardinia. One day, a villa worker told how Silvio found the best doctors when she needed emergency surgery. Later, Berlusconi would do the same for Andri's father when he needed a heart transplant. Next, the new Rossoneri player was to learn that Milan was a big family where victories and defeats were equally shared. From the first day, all those Shevchenko admired lent their friendly shoulders. Captain Paolo Maldini once told him that Milan was a religion. I would like to emphasize the next sentence. Shevchenko immediately understood the essence of Italian soccer. The team's gameplay was exceptionally tactically complex. Another peculiarity was the local defenders. Sometimes it seemed impossible to bypass such solid players, so Shevchenko worked fervently to improve the final attacking phase. During this personal restructuring, Andriy made a bet with Berlusconi. A new contract was at stake and the prize, 10 goals in the championship. Shevchenko exceeded the plan, delivering an impressive 24 goals, taking the record from the famous Michel Platini. Did you know the number 7 shirt fell to Shevchenko almost by chance? The number was already assigned to Ibrahim Ba, but he decided to give it to the Ukrainian. Later, it turned out that in Hebrew the number meant Sheva, a nickname that Andriy had long before his Milan life. Up next, creating the new Milan and the new Shevchenko. Sheva was learning to be an Italian and the best on the field. Having acquired a new striker, Milan was learning to be the new Milan, though the initial sessions left a bitter taste. Despite Shevchenko's remarkable individual contributions, the team's overall performance in Serie A remained underwhelming. The melancholy melody of the 2000-2001 season ended with a dramatic chord, constant coaching changes. Milan, where Shevchenko would win the prestigious Ballon d'Or award, and in European competitions awaited an exceptional coach, Carlo Ancelotti became that man. Before the Italians' arrival, Rossoneri's scouting service had worked hard. At different times, players like Andrea Pirlo, Rui Costa, Alessandro Nesta, Pippo Inzaghi, and Rivaldo joined Milan, the backbone of an entirely new team. Yet a wave of trials preceded a bright season. One of the harshest moments was Shevchenko's early season meniscus injury, which triggered the striker's doubt about his place in the team. However, they waited for him. Ancelotti gave the forwards place to Inzaghi and adapted the game strategy to reintegrate Shevchenko once he returned to his prime. I would like to emphasize the next sentence. In the year 2002-2003 season, everyone at Milan was convinced it was time to win the Champions League. They felt intense motivation and the power to write a new chapter in the club's history. As for Shevchenko's Italian transformation, the process was gradual and harmonious. His easygoing nature and straightforwardness proved helpful in making new acquaintances. Sheva became friends with Giorgio Armani and Richard Gere and made many acquaintances that later evolved into solid friendship. Life's whirlwind couldn't be stopped. Frame 1, Shevchenko's historic goal against Russia, but he misses the Euros. Frame 2, Andrew participates in an Armani show, leaving a memorable impression on Hollywood stars. Frame 3, he rejects Real Madrid's offer because Milan is his home and family. There are countless more frames, but one of them became particularly significant. It was the meeting with his future wife, Kirsten Pazik. It was clear from the first glance that Pazik was a girl for life. The American beauty impressed Andriy, who didn't need to speak another language perfectly to connect with the one who became his reliable support and lifelong love. Up next, the victory of Milan, the victory of a lifetime. Thank you. The Colonel was the first thought of Milan's number 7 when in the semi-finals of the 2002-2003 Champions League season, the Rossoneri beat Inter over 2 matches and made it to the final of the European Championship. A year prior, Shevchenko had lost his mentor, Lobanovsky, and experienced a period of profound darkness. Determined to honor him, Shevchenko aimed to win the European Cup, and Milan worked harder than ever. Everyone in the club felt victory was too close to let it go. Carlo Ancelotti's passionate look spoke for itself, and the players tirelessly exerted all their strength in training. Adriano Galliani, Berlusconi's right hand, packed back and forth on the eve of the final, pondering on which shelf the new trophy would look the best. Then he stopped, afraid to jinx it, and started a new round. After training, Shevchenko stayed on the field longer than others, as if anticipating something. He practiced penalties. The final was against Juventus at Manchester's Old Trafford. For thousands of fans, the most anticipated event of the year. For Milan, the best moment to prove they were ready to return to their past glory. Neither team scored during the game, leading to a tense penalty shootout. Shevchenko made the decisive shot and his life flashed before his eyes. In the words of Andriy Shevchenko, 40 meters from the center circle to the penalty mark felt like a journey to the moon. Images flooded in: Shepavko, Chernobyl, family, lost friends, Agropoli tournament, suing Ian Rush's boots, failing the football exam, not entering university, then Lutsenko, Oneshenko, Dynamo's double, contemplating military school, Ukraine's independence, Sabo Pavlov Rebrov with his radios, Lobnevsky, Rezo national team jersey, Biati's report, Camp Nou, Surkis brothers, Dynamo first squad, SBU cover-up, and everyone in Milan. Shevchenko versus Buffon, a glance calm, a shot to the left corner, Goal Milan Champions League winners. The euphoria was incredible. A carousel of hugs and handshakes, the beauty of the heavy trophy, and the celebration of the long awaited victory. I would like to emphasize the next sentence. Just as he wished, Shevchenko brought the Champions League Cup to Kiev, to the monument of Valery Lobanovsky. It was, in many ways, Lobanovsky's victory too. Up next, there is no better time for change than now. Soccer life never stops. Even the off season is a time for the birth of new ambitions, perfecting shape and working on mistakes. Even before that, Milan shot twice, defeating Roma in the Serie A Cup and overcoming Portuguese Porto under the command of Jose Mourinho in the European Super Cup. Even the Super Cup loss to Juventus couldn't deter Milan from ceaselessly improving. The 2003-2004 season left behind a variety of impressions. While Milan fell short in Europe, it rose to the challenge domestically, clinching the national championship. Emphasizing the next sentence, in 2004, Milan claimed the Serie A Cup for the 11th time, making a personal first for Shevchenko. Victories also graced his personal life. One of the best memories of Shevchenko will always be his wedding with Kristen, a simple ceremony on a golf course, and only the bride's parents were among the guests. Shiva often notes that his accomplishments would be impossible without Kristen and their 4 sons. Meanwhile, guided by intuition all his life, Andriy Shevchenko felt it was time for a new page of his soccer history. The year 2006 marked a new Chelsea chapter unfolding in England before Jose Mourinho. Still, there was no denying that Milan had become his true home. An ambitious and talented young man from Dynamo found his second family in this place. He'll never forget his farewell to the Rossoneri. Forced to watch the team's last match from the stands due to injury, Shevchenko once again felt that not only the players but all the fans who sang and cried were his family that evening. With the contract signed, Shevchenko awaited that event that he called the culmination of his career, the 2006 World Cup, in which the Ukrainian national team managed to rewrite history. Making it into the top 8 teams in the world was a result not even optimists expected. Shevchenko could not foresee future turns of fate, a series of injuries, and as a result, an unsuccessful career in the English Premier League, a stint in Milan, and finally a return home. In 2009, to find his self, the forward put on the shirt of Kiev's Dynamo again, and a few years later, Shevchenko donned a new hat, becoming the assistant manager for the national team. Everything happened as it should have. Soccer adventures never end. And the conclusion, sometimes sports stars' lives seem fairy tale like. However, the candid story of Andriy Shevchenko shows that soccer and filling fans' hearts with joy requires discipline and hard work. The beloved game is often a thorny path filled with struggles, injuries, competitive spirit, and tough decisions. Shevchenko's story confirms that these ingredients indeed from soccer's unique formula. Undeniably, the green pitch and the leather ball were always the center of Shevchenko's universe. His ties to his roots, Dynamo and Ukraine, were his gravity. Even when hundreds of kilometers away from home, Shevchenko deeply felt all national transformations, and every national team match was much more than 90 minutes for him. As for Milan, it wasn't merely a dream. It was number one goal for which a young Andriy ran kilometers around the lake on frosty days, competed with strangers on neighborhood streets, lingered on the draining pitch, and did more than possible. It wasn't money or fame that attracted him, but the real magic of the red and black colors, the incredible level of skill, and something unique and intangible between Shevchenko and his Italian fate. Every event post Rossoneri was equally vital as they forged both the player and the man in Shevchenko. The astonishing 2006 World Cup with the national team, the return to Dynamo, and the injury hit spell with Chelsea offered an incredible sense of something valuable and new, confirming soccer law. Every end is a new beginning. I want to leave you with some try this tips. For a deeper dive, we recommend watching the following documentaries: The Lord of Milan 2018 and Shevchenko, the Kid from Kiev 2023. And that concludes our topic for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are new to the channel, Professional Academy 2050, please subscribe and hit the notification bell icon so you will get all the updates. And drop a like if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.